Hi everybody and welcome to the Open eCry midweek market commentary for the 14th of August. My name's Simon Clark from Trade with Precision and I'll be discussing the markets that are of key interest right now. Now the first market I'm going to talk about today is Euro AUD, and it's coming up against some interesting levels and some decision levels I think in price. So let me just talk through the time frames and I'll show you what I'm looking at. So first one here, if I take a look at the monthly chart, we can see monthly chart has turned from a downtrend into an uptrend. We've now sort of broken out, moving very nicely to the upside, and we've also got some lovely convergence on these markets too. So certainly looking like nice strong momentum to the upside. If we take a look at the weekly chart, we can see here on the weekly that we've broken through a number of key levels, through this sort of indecision period when it was establishing, the trend. But now we've got this nice move to the upside, and we've got moving averages all fanning in the right order with lovely convergence here on the indicators too. Now I've marked in here this 146,000 level. Now this level, it's got a little bit of key sort of support and resistance here on the weekly chart, but it becomes a lot more significant when we start looking at the lower time frames. We can notice recently that price has moved, it's extended a long way up, right up to the 1,500 level in fact, and then we've had a rejection back down. So it's still above the buy zone here, still looking very bullish, and all we've done is we've sort of had a pullback to sort of area of equilibrium. So if we come down to the daily chart, we see this bit of price action in a bit more detail. So we can see this recent move up. Price has now sort of pulled back, and now we're just sort of stabilizing underneath 146,000. And when we come down to lower time frames, we see that that's really quite a key support and resistance level that's been tested a number of times here. So it's looking like this area, certainly on this time frame, looks like a nice area. We've got sort of nice little trend flow trading opportunities here with small bullish candles in the buy zone. But it's tested this level, this 146 level. It's an area that, I think if it breaks above this level, it certainly looks bullish to the high side. If it rejects this level and moves to the downside, then I think we're going to be looking at further moves to the downside. Now, there is another level, around here, around the sort of just at these highs that we've seen prices tested a number of times, and actually seems to sort of cluster with the low of this sort of consolidation of where we are at the moment. There's where price is sort of consolidating through here. So it's certainly a lot easier if we take a look at this on the lower time frame. So I've got this on the 240 chart here now. So we can see here on the 146,000 level, we can see how price has found support here, tested it a number of times, broken through, now found resistance here a few times as well. And if I just mark in this sort of this other level that I was talking about, this 144.50 level ish, this sort of level here, you can see this has been prior support and resistance through here as well, and price has found support here too. So this is a sort of area where I think it's decision time for price. Certainly recently, on these lower time frames, the trend is to the downside. If we can break through this 146,000 level, I think there's potentially moves up here to retest the 1,500. If we break through the low of this level, lower this consolidation, then we've probably got moves down to test these old previous lows down here. So I think it's a sort of decision time at the moment for Euro AUD, and it's certainly sort of a couple of levels that I'm keeping a close eye on. And once price has broken those levels, then it will look quite interesting for some trading opportunities in the direction of that market move. Now the next market I'm looking at today is soybean oil, and this market's had a nice long run to the short side, as we can see, and now we've got a potential trend flow trading opportunity on the daily chart. So I'm just going to take a look through the time frames and show you what I'm looking at here. So here on the monthly chart, we can see there's been lovely nice movement to the short side for some time. We've got our moving averages in the right order, and we've got lovely convergence here on the indicators too. Now I've sort of marked a level in here that it's not a precise level really, but there's a zone here that price has tested a number of times in the past. We're fairly close to that level at the moment, and bearing in mind this is a monthly chart, on these lower time frames, that's it's still quite a distance, a reasonable distance to be able to trade. If we take a look here at the weekly chart, you can see the sort of power of this move in a bit more detail. It's had a big long sell-off for some time. Moving averages all in the right order. Nice convergence on the indicators too. Price just recently pulling back, and if we take a look down here at the daily chart, this is where it all starts to look a little bit more interesting. We can see that with this move down, each time price comes into the sell zone here, it finds new momentum and pushes to the downside again. And most recently, we've come down, tested 142,000 level, pulled back up into the sell zone, and today we've now got a bearish candle small bearish candle sitting there right in the sell zone. Got some nice convergence on the indicators too, so I'm just looking to see how this sort of plays out. Potentially later on we may well get if we get a continuation of a move to the short side, I'm looking for a new retest down here at 42,000 as a first potential move before we look any further. Looking down here at the 240 chart, we can see this pullback in more detail. We can already see that price has now started to roll back over, and we're now just coming into that sort of sweet spot. So the moving averages are just starting to fan out here, and I think now it's at this time where we're going to find out where the move is going to be, whether this market is going to continue to make a retest to the short side, or whether it's going to continue back on to the long side. If we continue back onto the long side, we're going to get a trend change on these lower time frames, and there'll be potentially opportunities right the way up to this sort of 45,000 level. There's pretty much nothing in the way to get right up here, so potentially plenty of movement to the high side. If we get a break below this sort of level here between these old lows here, you can see that this has been an area of prior support, also prior resistance as well. Get a break underneath 42,500, then I think we'll get a certainly looking for a new retest down here at 42,000. So that's what I'm looking for here on soybean oil. Now the last market I'm going to take a look at here is euro dollar. And euro dollar seems to have quite a bit of momentum behind it recently, and it's also trading around some rather interesting levels. So let me just show you what I'm looking at. So here really when we take a look at the monthly chart, we can see that this market's been trading within a range, a very big range for some time, and recently we've now tested this sort of 1,300 level a number of times, and in fact there's 1,300 1.33 level I should say, which is also quite a key level which we can identify on these lower time frames. Certainly on this time frame here, it looks like we've made a lower high, but maybe a higher low, and looks like possibly moving up to make a higher high, but at this moment in time nothing sort of decided at this moment in time. If we come down to the weekly chart, things start to look a little bit more clearer. On the weekly chart, I've marked in 1,300 and the 1.33 level as well, and you can see these two levels have been quite sort of key through price. They've tested these levels a number of times. So most recently, price has come down. We've tested lows. We've got sort of slightly higher lows here, and we've got a higher high. Now we come down again, retested this low, and now come back up again. Now this level is 1.33. Moving averages just starting to fan in the right order, and we've got some nice little convergence here on the indicators. So if anything's looking very slightly bullish, but at this moment in time we want to be able to see confirmation of a break between these two levels. So I think if we get a break above 33 here, 1.33, we could be looking for a good move up to maybe test these old highs up here. If we get a break below, then we're certainly going to be looking for a retest of these levels down to these old sort of lows down here. So if I come down to the daily chart, take a look here, we can see our 133 level, price has just pushed through it, it's pulled back in, and now we're sort of sitting there right in the buy zone at the moment. We've got all the moving averages in the right order, We've got nice convergence here on the indicators too, so just watching to see what happens here, whether we get buying momentum coming in the markets, whether we can break 133 again and look for moves to the high side, or whether indeed this is going to roll over to the short side. We can get a bit more of an indication when we come down to the lower time frame. So this is down to the 240 level. We can see how strong this 133 level has been through here. It's tested this level a number of times, tried to make a rush for the high side, pulled under, and now we've sort of broken underneath it. So it's really a case of just watching to see what happens here. Do we get a retest of 133 and a break above it? If we do, I think we're poised to make a move, or potentially a test up to 134, 135. If we don't, then I think the next sort of potential move might be down to retest the 1.3 thousand level down here. Okay, so that concludes the midweek market outlook and potential trading opportunities to look out for. I'd like to thank you for watching the Open eCry midweek market commentary and look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye for now.